All right, gentlemen, let's get into the video. We're caffeinated, we're nicotined, we got some Zen in. You are 90 days away from your best physical transformation. What I see a lot of guys fall into the trap of is that they're trying to get into shape and they're not fully all in, okay? And they might be doing it for the wrong reasons. They might be just, wanting to look lean at the beach, they want to see their abs, but the real reason that you should be getting into shape is who you become in the process, okay? It's not for what you see in the mirror and the physical. Sure, those benefits are great. It's much bigger than that. It's how you feel, how you show up, your energy, and so you can be burning red hot and on fire to tackle your work and show up and totally be the high performer elite guy that you truly want to be. If a high performer was looking for, the quickest way to get into shape, this is what I would tell him. Okay? It's not about what you get and what the mirror shows, but it's who you become in that process. Okay? So it really starts up here in your head. So this is for the driven, disciplined operator who you expect the same level of precision for your body as you do in your work, in your career. This is not a beginner video either. You've tracked, you've experimented, you work out, you have a basic understanding of compound lifts, accessories, how to build muscle, how to lose body fat, and you've experimented maybe with some different diets. You've tried fasting, you've tried keto, cutting out carbs, tracking your macros, but all that stuff, might not be working for you. And one of the reasons for that could be that you're not fully committing. You're dipping your toes in and you're like, I'm trying, but then one bad weekend and you feel like you're starting over on your physical transformation. And you're a little bit frustrated with that, okay? So I'm gonna go over a refined principle-based system that you can apply and implement today to work towards your best physique. And if done properly and if followed, you can see massive transformations in 90 days or less, okay? But I think you should give yourself 90 days to get into the best physical shape of your life, okay? So this is pure mastery of what really matters. Tracking your food. We don't necessarily need to track the food, but we're gonna focus on the simple needle movers that you can apply today to get into the best shape of your life in 90 days, okay? Understand that the outcome is not just a stronger, leaner physique, but it's control, clarity, and becoming someone completely different in the process, okay? With a newfound energy to use in the arena of your choosing. You can apply this to your work, like I said, apply this to your family life to create the life that you truly want, okay? So, the next level you, what does that version of you do? Do they drink alcohol excessively on the weekends, Friday and Saturday? Probably not. Do they eat ice cream every night or every other night? Probably not. You already know some of those things that you're doing that are bad for you. And you have to ask yourself, is this what the best version of myself does? Okay, so it might sound a little woo woo to you, but you really have to become someone new in your head for this to truly work. Because if you don't, you might get to the end of these 90 days and fall back into your old ways. And I struggled with that for probably 4 or 5 different years, probably 4 or 5 plus years, going back and forth, losing the same, 10 to 15 pounds. And you probably have more weight to lose than you might think. A lot of guys are holding on to some excess body fat. And to really reclaim your edge, you need to get lean. That is what I recommend. Reclaim your edge by getting lean. So what matters is, the mindset. The mindset is so key to stick to this long term. Okay? So we want to be playing the game with progression, getting better every single day, and your workouts should give you energy. That is the game, okay? So when you're losing body fat, like I said, a lot of guys are looking to lose body fat. You must be training in the gym like you're trying to build muscle. So the same way that you build that muscle is the same way that you keep it. The problem I see a lot of guys do is they built muscle, on compound lifts, in the 4 to 5 to 6, maybe up to 8 rep range, but then they immediately switch over to a higher rep range to drop body fat. That is not what you want to do as a natural. That is not what you want to do at all. Even throughout your cut, you should be training like you're trying to build muscle, because it is possible to build muscle in a cut, especially if you haven't been training consistently. Okay, so we must continue training heavy and pushing for progression in the gym. Muscle is key here, okay? This is going to give you an edge. Your body is going to look differently as well, and it's going to feel better when your training is done properly. And to be clear on progression, progression does not always mean the weight keeps ticking up. If you've been lifting for a while and you can't just keep adding weight every week for progression. It's just like you cap out, all right? So progression can also be done with shorter rest times. Maybe you're improving the mind muscle connection in the gym and feeling that more, feeling the weight on your muscles more, and really getting into that flow state. So I think the best way to do this is keeping the lifts simple, okay? So for chest, we're doing presses, we're doing incline, we're doing fly movements, we're adding in some push-ups for total body domination. But keeping it consistent is key. And since you're so busy, the game is following a plan, a written plan. So when you go into the gym, you know exactly what you're going to be doing. That is the big cheat code, okay? It's not like, oh, we're showing up and working out in the gym. We're not just working out, dude. We are training to become an absolute weapon of mass destruction. Okay, like the training done right, you should be looking forward to these workouts. They shouldn't be draining. They should be giving you energy, all right? So that's really the game. So we want to be hitting each muscle group at least once in a 7-day period, sometimes twice if you like to train that way. But I think it's best to be hitting each muscle group at least once in a 7-day period. I like the bro split. I'm hammering each muscle group, once a week hard. That's just how I like to train, okay? And you want to be taking some rest days as well. That's how your body fully recovers. So that's, the training. There's so many different training splits. There's so many different things. Whatever it may be, whatever training split you decide, make it one that you can stick to and keep it simple. And it must be a written plan. You can access it on your phone. You can access it on, print it out, dude. Print it out so you know what you're doing. However is easiest for you, that's going to be the game. We're giving it our all in the gym, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. Okay, so you need that challenge. You need to challenge yourself to give yourself an edge. Now the next thing, your nutrition. You must fuel your machine, okay? The real difference in how you feel and how you perform is what you eat, and you know that, okay? You know that. You need to start asking yourself, when you start thinking of food, will this help me perform at my best? If the answer is no, gone. Get it out of the house. Don't eat it. Don't put it in your mouth. I'd rather you not eat than eat something that makes you feel not good, okay? So I know some guys, they might have pizza and wings on a weekend because they're treating themselves. It's like, is that actually going to fuel you up? Is it worth that meal to see how you feel the next day? Probably not. Your performance is going to suffer. So the real edge that you can get is how you're eating. So I like to keep it simple. Simple protein sources, animal meats, eggs, maybe some Greek yogurt or cottage cheese. You can throw in some whey protein, or I like to do a liquid egg white shake as my protein shake. But those should be the foundation of your meals. But find what works best for you. You need to find what works for you, okay? But keep in the diet 90 to 95% locked in is going to be a huge game changer for you. Okay. If you do it the right way, your body is going to be starting to burn clean energy. Your metabolism is going to just be absolutely firing from all cylinders. And like, there's no reason, you know, that when you eat better, you feel better. You know this, okay? So fuel the machine, burn clean energy, and you're going to feel better, look better, live longer. There's just a number of benefits to it. It's just like obvious, but you need to get into that state. All right. So pick whole foods from nature and don't neglect any macronutrient. We still need carbs. Carbs are fueling your workout. So on higher activity days, sometimes I ramp up my carbs. You know, right now I'm training for a half marathon and I'm lifting, so I need a little bit more carbs. The protein stays consistent, about a gram per pound of current body weight or goal body weight. And then, you know, don't overdo it on the protein because you are going to perform better with cleaner carb energy sources. And then the fats I like to get from animal meats and from my eggs, maybe some butter. And that's going to optimize your hormones. You're going to be starting to, you know, sleep better, feel better, and you are just going to be so laser focused when the diet is locked in. Okay. So if you're trying to lose body fat, the numbers on this, you know, a 300 to 500 calorie deficit, that is it. All right. So that's a good rule of thumb. 1 gram per pound of body weight for protein when we're talking about macros. And I like to keep the carbs at least 1 gram per pound of body weight as well. So for example, if you're 180 pounds right now, have 180 grams of protein and at least 180 grams of carbs, and then fill in the rest of your macros from fats. So, you know, 20 to 30% of total calories from your fats is a good number. And you can throttle that, you know, add some more carbs or some more fats, but don't overly obsess about the macros. The better focus is to place on the actual food that you're taking in, because you're just going to be burning like a machine. Okay. That is the edge. Okay. And now the next thing, the most important thing a high performer can do is revolve your entire life around sleep. And yeah, it sounds a little bit crazy. It's like, dude, what are you talking about? Professional sleeper? Yes, you must become a professional sleeper. That is the real edge. You're going to recover better, you're going to have more energy, and your body thrives on routine. So some rules of thumb around sleep that I have are: go to bed at the same time every single night and wake up at the same time every single morning, even on weekends. Once you keep your schedule consistent and structured, it's going to be easier to follow. You're going to feel better. And like I said, you're just going to be able to put that energy into your work, into your career. So fitness is really the foundation. And this is something that you can control. You have control over, and I know you want that. You want control. Build a plan that you can follow and keep that schedule consistent and structured. Okay. So one of the supplements, you know, some guys ask me about supplements. That best bang for your buck is magnesium glycinate. I've been taking it for the last 2 years almost before bed, and I do truly notice a difference. It helps me sleep and recover. Your muscles relax. Stress is lower. And that's a big thing here, is stress management. Sleep helps you manage your stress better. Working out is a outlet for stress management. Mentally, you're locked in. Physically, you're locked in. So you can handle those stressful environments that you might be exposed to. Okay. So keep the caffeine in check too. Don't drink caffeine too late. I cut it off at noon. I do use nicotine as well, but I use it as a performance enhancer and not a crutch. But you got to be careful with nicotine. Don't start if you're not in it right now. Don't start nicotine. It's super addicting, but it can be used as a tool to be locked in. Okay. Now the next thing is cardio. Cardio, cardio, cardio. You can really get in great shape without cardio. Like 80 to 90% of your physical transformation results are done through your diet and your training in your gym, in the gym. But it is a tool to use to build up your gas tank and to recover better. So some of my favorite cardio tools are walking outside, helps you lower stress. If you don't have time to walk outside, if you can get a walking pad at your desk, great. If you're a worker from home, that's fantastic. If you like to run, you can also run, but running does increase your hunger, so it's not a necessary aspect of your cardio regimen. If you're stretched on time, but you'd like a big bang for your buck cardio tool, the jump rope is a great option. Also, the stepper, or if you go to a commercial gym or you have a treadmill, walking at an incline at 3.5 miles per hour, it's a great thing to add into your routine because eventually your fat loss will stall throughout the process. So you're going to want to add in cardio, but you don't want to throw the house at yourself all at once. Cardio should be introduced gradually and upticked as you go deeper into your fat loss phase to stay locked in. The problem I see a lot of guys doing is they're focusing way too much on cardio and not as much on lifting. There's a funny thing that you almost see if you start looking around in some gyms, the fattest people focus on cardio and the jacked, chiseled, lean guys focus more of their time on weights. Like, which one do you want to be? So the training, the lifting, that's your foundation of your workouts. And then cardio can be supplemented and added in as a tool. A simple protocol, say you train four lifting days in a week, you can add in 2 to 3 cardio sessions per week, starting out at 20 minutes and eventually, adding, maybe you add 10 more minutes or you add another day of 20 minutes. It's a great time to check in on emails, on, making phone calls, texts, doing admin work. So find what works best for you and keep it moving. And now to the next thing, measuring what matters. So we want to focus on the things that truly matter. So I think a great thing to measure is every day you're stepping on the scale. It's just a number, confront it, see where you're at, and track it, either in a spreadsheet or on a piece of paper. You just want to get better in tune with your body and how your body adjusts to the food that you're taking in. So track it every day, see where you're at. You will not really make great progress if you're not tracking your body weight. It's a tool. Don't want to obsess over it, but you want to see where you're at. Also, take pictures of yourself throughout. It's another measurement tool. There are some cases where your body weight might stay the same, but you're changing physically. So tracking body weight and pictures are a great way to make sure you're progressing in the right direction. And now on the food, you want to be weighing your food and having an idea of what you're taking in, especially if you've maybe never tracked macros before. You want to be tracking it and setting up a meal plan that you know what you're taking in. So some of the best, high performing guys that I work with is they're keeping their breakfast like very consistent, and they're keeping most of their meals they're eating on their own as consistent as possible. So if you have a family, you want to leave a little bit variety for dinner, for example. The family meals have a little bit more flexibility, but eating on your own, keep it as dialed and as consistent as possible. It's going to make this process so much easier, less decision fatigue, easier to shop for, easier to prep for, and you just don't have to think about it. Ideally, you want to get to this state where you're not tracking your macros, but you just know what you're taking in on a daily basis. That's really the game. If you're just starting out, you want to make sure that meal plan's dialed in, track your macros. You can use 2 different apps I recommend, MyFitnessPal or Chronomer. Those are 2 good options. You're getting a lot of micronutrients as well from your diet, but think of your food that you're taking in as your supplement stack, and anything missing you can add in. And that goes into our next topic of supplements. There are just a few supplements that I recommend to most guys that could benefit from. Look, I've tried like these massive supplement stacks and I ended up just forgetting. Like, you're way too busy. Like, we want to focus on the supplements that truly move the needle and that you're not just pissing out. So we want to keep these supplements simple, the ones that actually matter. So I think Everyone should be taking creatine. You're going to be able to push harder in the gym. There's also benefits when you're more tired. If you take more creatine, it can dial you in more mentally. So I'm taking 10 grams of creatine per day and sometimes up to 15 to 20 grams if I am feeling a little bit more tired. Okay. Use at your own risk. That's just what I do. Magnesium glycinate before bed is another option, is what I do. Magnesium, electrolytes, have a nice salt, potassium. You need electrolytes, especially if you're training hard, working out like a machine. And then pre-workout, I take a pre-workout for caffeine, also for the mental benefits, and they help me get a better pump in the gym, so high ROI there. And then I do supplement with vitamin D in the winter months because there's just no sun and you can't really get as much naturally. And then I add in caffeine, but I cut it off at noon so it doesn't affect my sleep. So this whole video has been just everything that really you need to transform and build a lean and chiseled physique. Get lean, build muscle, eat right. The guys that you see that are just operating at their peak, they make it look easy, and it might look like they're built different, but what they really did is they'd stopped being, on the fence about their health and their performance, but they started to take things serious. Everything started to be tracked. They changed who they are in their head, and then they've developed habits that keep them in shape long term. And that's why you see them getting an edge. So I truly think you can transform in 90 days. And that lean, chiseled, energetic, high performing edge guy is much closer than you think. It's time to go find him. All right. This has been such a huge cheat code for me and the guys that I work with. You get an edge when you control your physical state by your actions. You have control over that, right? You can't build it. You can't buy it. Most satisfying thing to get into this condition. And I want that for you as well. So I hope you like this video. If you have any questions, comment down below. Like, comment, and subscribe. These videos are here to help you. I'm sharing what has helped me perform at my peak, and the guys that I work with perform at their peak. This is game changing, and it's not just for the abs and looking a certain way. It's how you perform everywhere else. Energy, confidence. Life starts to feel different when you take care of your health, and it's just obvious. Like, you want to take care of your health so you can live longer and take care of your people in life. The modern world, we must fight the modern temptation. It's not really set up for health, but to get that true edge in life, you want to build your body and get that edge naturally as well. It's much more satisfying. We're not taking TRT, any of that stuff. This is a natural edge. And when you build it this way, there's no shortcuts, there's no cheat codes. It's just work, okay? It's work, and it's satisfying. And you apply that to other areas of your life to get that true edge. So if you like this video, please subscribe. Please subscribe. I want to help you get into the best shape of your life naturally and live a better life. Check out the links below. I have a newsletter for high performers, sharing my notes. There's some guides there that you can take a look at my previous work. And thank you for watching. Have a great day. Stay strong. Peace.